Is that better? I don't need to repeat any of that, do I? Anyway, I work with food for a living. The last 2 days I've been in Tuscaloosa, Alabama in a competition. It was pretty stressful. Many of you are chefs out there. You understand what culinary competition entails. And got a pinched neck, so I'm in a little bit of pain. And I ask that you tolerate my funny posture and halting speech. But real food, what is real food? And we're all in search of it every day. We have to find food every day. We have to eat food every day. We're not hunter-gatherers anymore in the real sense, but we do hunt food down, and we look for, hopefully, the best food that we can possibly get. Real means true, actual, and not artificial, according to many dictionaries. And as we're searching for food, this is what we come across, this landscape of what looks like plentiful, cheap food. But actually, it's an illusion. It's plentiful, it's true, and it is inexpensive initially, but it costs us a great deal in the long run. The Food Project defines real food as food that nourishes producers, consumers, consumers, and the earth. It is a food system from seed to plate that respects human dignity, health, animal welfare, social justice, and environmental sustainability. We'll come back to that, but I want you to think about that definition. And while we search in this land of plenty, fast food makes up, and genetically modified food makes up probably everything that we eat. Corn is in everything. They're splicing genes into bananas from fish. They're adding genes from bacteria to salmon. And fresh foods are kind of forgotten. So ask yourself, how does this food, how can we apply that definition to this food? We have pesticides on all of our food. We rely upon Camphouse or large farms to provide most of our beef, and certainly they don't respect human life, or they're not environmentally sustainable, and they're really not good for you. But beef is a big issue. We consume about 26.9 billion pounds of beef every year. 89% of beef contains E. coli 0157H7. It's a bacteria that is deadly. 52 die every year from it. Our food is making our children hyperactive. It's giving them hypertension, attention deficit disorder. We have children that have severe allergies. I deal with it every day in my work with young adults and children that cannot eat foods that at one time were considered safe. Yet we still, this is how we get our food. 1 out of 4 meals we get from fast food. We continue to rely upon fast food because, quite frankly, it's the only thing that we have. I had to stop and eat at a fast food restaurant yesterday. I was hungry, and that was the only thing available on the road. I tried to eat well, but quite frankly, it's not good for you. And we are what we eat. We have heard all that. We've heard that all of our lives, and real food doesn't really have anything to do with fast food. So, we eat about 239 million hamburgers yearly here. That's just from the Crystal. McDonald's has sold over 100 billion hamburgers. And once again, let's ask ourselves a question. Is this real food? Does fast food, is it sustainable? No, it's not. Is it good for the environment? No, it's not. Does it treat humans and animals with respect? No, it doesn't. But we continue to eat it, and this is what is happening to us. We're becoming obese, and these children don't have any vegetables in front of them, and I guarantee you that they're not going to eat any vegetables tomorrow or the next day. We live on hamburgers, french fries, and Coca-Colas. That's what we eat as a people. I know that many people here probably try to eat organic and fresh, and sometimes I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but we need to eat fresh vegetables. We need to have variety. It's extremely important. And if we continue to eat the way that we're eating, then we will change as a human species. We're changing now. That and inactivity and watching TV while we eat is causing an incredible amount of obesity and problems with our children. Type 2 diabetes is rampant. And it's because of essentially a scene like this. Mom picks up fast food, gives it to the kids, puts them in front of the television, and doesn't engage them at all in conversations. As a matter of fact, most families only have about 6 minutes of meaningful conversation every week with their children. So it's important that we go after fresh food. And we take the time to eat fresh food. So what can we do about this? Well, we can get outside. We can disconnect from the television. You can explore your community. You can shop wisely. You know, go to the grocery store and shop wisely. You know, right now, even though most of our traditional foods are full of pesticides and herbicides and are genetically modified, and this is happening in the United States more than any other country in the world. Most countries have legislation or laws against genetically modified food. You know, turn your television off. Get outside, right? Plant a garden. Take back your food. Its heritage and its benefits belong to us. Sit down and share a meal with a friend. Cook food with your family. Have dinner with your family. Try to avoid this. Don't set your kid in front of a television and give them food. I know it's easy to do. I'm a product of the television age. I was born when television, I was born in 1958. I grew up with television. But television, just like food, has evolved and changed. When I was a child, there was probably 2 stations. It was completely different. And once again, as we search for food, we're on a journey by ourselves, kind of. There's not a whole lot of help out there. There's lots of advertising for fast food and genetically modified food, especially towards our children. We market fast food is marketed towards the children because fast food companies realize that the child decides what's on the dinner table. So allow your children to get outside and enjoy their life, and encourage that. And I encourage you to get outside and enjoy your life. Move away from passive activities. Move away from the television, move away from your internet and your Facebook, and engage society. That's one of the things that's great about this particular event. And in the end, sit down with your family and be graceful about your food and be thankful about your food. And ask questions about your food. Don't just accept it. Don't go into a restaurant and say, I'll have number 2, and that's all that there is to it, right? Ask questions. And I guess that's it. Thank you, Matt.
Hello. Hello. My name is Sam Silvey, and I'm an adventure photographer, maybe. Tonight is 20 plus or minus reasons to be an adventure photographer. So plus or minus is kind of left up to you to decide. But you can see here a great reason is we stay in the nicest places. Example at hand, rustic camping. Everything was rustic about this place. Screen door kind of hanging on one hinge. Middle of nowhere up at the River Gorge. But you know, all the accommodations are really neat. To get there, we travel in the nicest vehicles. You can see that we have tons of room in there. 5 people in a 2-door truck with a dog as well for 8 hours. It's great. All the gear in the back. We probably could have some there to help cab, but you know, really lush accommodations. In the car, the best part about the car is the fact that it smells like fun. And you may think that smells bad, but it actually smells like fun. And these are our climbing shoes, and that's pretty much the worst smell ever. I don't know how they smell so bad. They smell horrible. So we put them on the heater to warm up the rubber before we climb. It just makes the car smell like fun. We eat the best food. Sorry, Rick. We eat really good food. As you can see here, I think this was probably all fried individually and then put back in the fryer. Some more grease added for flavor, but really high quality dining, 5-star restaurants everywhere. We get to talk with the most intelligent people ever. We really get to take photographs, interview with intelligent people. Here you can see the Wall of Fame. This guy actually played redneck golf. And so you fill up a beer can with white gas, light the top on fire, and then you hit it with a golf club. He actually caught on fire, and they put him out right after that. You get to deal with trust issues. This is about 85 feet off the ground in River Gorge, and I let someone else set the rope up for me. As you can see, I've got a rope going to one bolt, another anchor. It's somewhere tied to me, and then it goes to a camera bag, and maybe to me again. Maybe it's somewhere else. I think it's in the rock, basically. I'm not really sure, but trust issues. You get to see a lot of first descents go down, and I don't know if you can tell this or not. This is actually on the side of the road in Texas. So there's tons of climbing in Texas if you didn't know this, but this is a crack on the side of an overpass, and we pulled out the full trad rack. First descent, all the semis loved it. You haven't seen a gas station in 4 hours. So a prerequisite if you're going to be an adventure photographer is to have a Facebook page. You just have to do it. You can log on there and you can say, come listen to PechaKucha at the Camphouse and listen to some guy ramble on for a long time about adventure photography. Everyone loves to hear it. You also, just like in the rap movies, you get to ride the nicest boats, the best warm weather, with the hottest girls on it too. As you can see, we're about to flip this sailboat, and that's snow in the background. The whole deck's frozen, and I'm in the little cabin that's actually got a hole and water flowing through it. It's really high class. It's what all rap movies are made of. You get the right to scare people. This guy, I should have zoomed up a little more, but it's the best picture ever of deer in the headlights. 10 people almost jumped off that little cliff there. I feel really bad about it, so I didn't want to get sued. I had to move out of the way. But apparently 8 a.m. a flash, hiding around a corner is not a good idea. So this is kind of a personal reason, but that was my 10th or 11th or 12th concussion. I don't really know, but it's been a lot. So photography is great because I can remember what I did yesterday or who I met. I got an iPhone now, just take a picture. It's great for memory. It's great for setting out self-portraits of you and your friend. You got nothing else to do, and they all come out great because that's exactly what we were meaning to do. I mean, of course, we were wanting to jump around and look like fools. We actually almost took out my camera on this one too. We got a great idea to run at the camera, so we almost took it out. So you get VIP access to the top of every cliff line. So anytime you want to shoot photographs of rock climbers, you just hit the escalator button, go right to the top, and it's free access VIP. It actually looks like I'm giving birth to a child on this one. I don't know if you can see that, but I may have, I'm not sure. Once you get up there though, you have a different view and a different angle. So sometimes it's worth it, to get different angles. It's about 85 feet off the ground in Red River Gorge. And all those little holes are actually like honeycomb pockets, so a finger will go in different holes for grips all over home. So you get the right to trespass and have justified. Oddly enough, most people in the incline car didn't even see us. I don't know how. I mean, Lewis is yelling and climbing gears, making all kinds of noise, and I'm hanging off of trees from the cliff. But I never got in trouble for it. So. You get the chance to actually slow down time. And I know the other ones are kind of sarcastic, but the cool thing about photography, adventure photography, or any photography, you can actually play with time and go back in the past and look at multiple situations and slow down what your eye really can't see. So not all of us can see someone blurring by, but so everyone likes to watch, not everyone, but people that watch NASCAR love to see the crashes. So as an adventure photographer, I'm sometimes looking on the camera like, man, this guy's going to get really messed up. And he actually sent this. It's a first sent on it, Deep Creek up in Saudi Daisy. Another great reason is you can say, man, I've got this great idea for this picture. You cross the creek first, and I'll take a photo. And I'll see if you get washed down the creek.
Did you make it?
Yes, he did make it. So you actually become really good redneck engineers. I don't know if this goes hand in hand or not, but we actually have a sea kayak with some sand tied to another sea kayak with some more sand tied to a tarp and a paddle in there somewhere. And we got hit with a storm all night down some islands for like 30-mile-per-hour winds, and it was not a good idea. But we made it. At the end of the day, we may not have like the most luxuries, and we kind of rough it in a lot of ways, but you can get cool photos like this and kind of realize that the simple things like the sunset are worth more than fine dining, nicest place to stay.